hair. I am on the ground right now because this stool is a little bit too tall for the setup I've got going on right now. I feel a little too far away. Comic books, or otherwise known as graphic novels. Reading isn't as popular as it used to be in the digital age. The majority of people choose to watch shows, movies, super awesome, attractive YouTubers. And I'm guilty of that a lot of the time as well. Some people dedicate themselves to video games or to makeup or sports. You know, there's a whole plethora of hobbies, including reading. It's just reading isn't really as popular as it used to be. As I get older, I've gotten through a lot of good games, shows, movies, lots of content that I would consider to be, peak. Overall, I'd say that I've consumed a lot of media. Superheroes and mystical stories have always interested me. I would even consider Spider-Man to be one of, if not my favorite fictional character of all time. It's either him or Luffy. Invincible was the first comic that really got me into reading. After season 1 of the show, I picked up the first compendium, and then the second, and then the third. Because it was so good. It was so good, and I feel like a story like that, such a linear story, so bulky, it was just such an amazing experience to dive into, and I really felt myself involved in that world that was on the paper. I really, really was invested for every page that I flipped. Oh my god, I think Invincible's out there. And something that always came to mind for me was I thought the reading was too quiet of a hobby. Me personally, sometimes I have a little bit of trouble in a silent room. Maybe my thoughts get a little bit too loud, and I was worried that would happen when reading the book. But I found myself almost like I was watching a TV show, like flipping the pages, the voices in my head, It was amazing to me, and I think it's something that goes underestimated a lot. Since then, I've been reading and collecting comics. Superman is one of my favorite superheroes. I used to underestimate him a lot of the time because I only knew the physical, video, digital media of Superman. I knew Man of Steel, I knew really just Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. So for a long time, I guess I kind of had a very tunnel vision view of what Superman was actually supposed to be. And then I watched shows like Smallville and Superman and Lois, and I was like, this guy Superman is awesome. Why is this not what we show in the movies? And granted, James Gunn's movie, I loved James Gunn's movie, and I think they're going in the right direction. But when I first started getting into it, obviously that wasn't out. Because I'm a fan of Superman, I figured I wanted to pick up some Superman comics, and I didn't exactly know where to start. I did happen to get All-Star Superman for Christmas a couple years back, which I read and I loved. Amazing Superman story. If you haven't read it, it has a DC compact, and I would consider go picking it up. But today we're going to be talking about a different DC compact. We're going to be talking about Superman Birthright. And so I heard that Superman Birthright is a great starter place for Superman comic books, and I wanted to pick it up and see for myself. And I honestly gotta say, loved it. I felt like there were a lot of similar aspects to Smallville, the show, like I just mentioned, and I really wanted to talk about it today. So that's what we're gonna be doing. Starts off with the origin of Superman, like we've seen it before, with his parents on Krypton as it's dying. They give us a bite-sized history of Krypton, which I enjoyed. The downfall of Krypton usually seems to be brought on by its people, and Jor-El claims that they ignored his warnings. I understand Jor-El personally because he's frustrated that he couldn't save it all. It's his last despair. Despite this, Kal, Clark, or Superman is his last hope that he leaves in the world. They sent him away to become Hope, and that's exactly what he does. After this, we cut to Clark, about 25 years of age, and he's in Africa, just learning to use his powers and sort of just getting along in the world. I loved watching young Clark in Africa. I loved watching him use his powers in a more natural setting. I don't think a day goes by in my life where I don't think about what I would do if I had powers. These were not the superpowers I wanted. And I feel like I would be doing pretty similar things. I would want to fly around the world, see the sights, and fly around animals, or, you know, just get to see the world. And I feel like Clark really portrays that really well in this comic. And it's something that I personally really enjoyed. However, that's not the main point of his time in Africa. The main point of Africa was the time that Clark spent with Kobe Asuru. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I don't get it right, please let me know. I wasn't quite sure. Clark quotes it best from the tribe Ashanti. A charge to keep they have, the human race to glorify, all other neighbors to save, and raising human esteem high. An ideal that Kobe lived and eventually, spoiler alert, died. What that quote means to me is that for a greater good, we all have a part to play. And we all need to help each other. We live in a very divisive time nowadays. And honestly, I think the one thing that we forget that we're all united by is our humanity. We're all people. Before red, before blue, before black, before white, before any color, before any label that you put on yourself. We're all humans. And I think we all tend to forget that. And humans, for the greater good of us all, for the greater good of our human race, I feel like we should help each other. You know, we need to have more compassion, more kindness, and I feel like this is a good theme, a recurring theme that we get within this story. I feel like Clark realizes that as well, and with all of his abilities, he realizes that he needs to play a bigger part in the world. He can do a lot to save people. Not many people can do what he can do. And with Kobe's death, he knows what he has to do, and he knows who he has to become. Superman. I don't know about you guys, but I find the personal life of Clark almost, if not just as interesting as the adventures of Superman. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a huge fan of the show Smallville, and I've even met Clark and Lex. Highlight, by the way. I feel like there are a lot of things reminiscent in Superman Birthright to Smallville, despite their differences. For example, Jonathan Kent is known for his strong yet stubborn personality in the show.
Looking for Mr. Kent. What do you want?
I feel as though that comes across very much within this comic. He had his moments of weakness, and he had his attitude towards Clark, and it felt like it could have been an entire episode within early Smallville. One of the best aspects of Smallville, in my opinion, is Clark and Lex's relationship, and that's something that I felt like you could see come across in the book as well, although be it in a different form. In the show, Lex is a bit more of a billionaire playboy Tony Stark type of character, whereas in the book, he's more of a kind of uncharismatic outcast type. And he doesn't even have a team of specialists.
Pack up one of these flowers. I got a team of specialists in Metropolis waiting. I want a team of specialists.
Lex is a bit of an outsider. He's a bit of an outcast due to his intelligence and his perceptiveness, which he uses in any chance that he can get, even if it doesn't make him well liked. And it's because of that that he does feel exiled in Smallville. And that causes him to bond with Clark, and because they both have uncommon abilities, they bonded through that. Despite their different dynamic within the book and the show, I personally love the change from friends to rivals or enemies. Friends to enemies is a better term, I would put it. I love that switch, and although, like I said, it happens in a different way than it does in the show, that same evolution happens, and I love that. I love that, you know, because it adds history to Clark and Lex, and it's in my opinion, you know, I like that better than when they have history better than when they meet when he becomes Superman. And I know that's just an opinion, but that's my opinion. Every superhero needs their cast of friends, and I feel like in Superman Birthright we have no shortage of that. There could have been more characters, but I felt like each of the characters had enough personality to fill the holes. We have a very funny cast with Jimmy Olsen, or Jim, as he'd like to be called within the book. We've got Perry, who's known for his, you know, usual anger and, you know, hard-boiledness, I would say. And Lois. Come on, Lois. And we've got Lois Lane with her usual stubbornness, and they have a pretty nice banter, Lois and Clark, within this book, which I found very fun. I would not have minded more, but this is early Daily Planet, so we got to remember that there aren't going to be that many people yet. We have to build that cast over time. One thing that I feel is equally important as the plot in a comic is the art. Bad art or style choice can affect story immersion and definitely take you out of the book entirely.
Man, what the?
Lionel Francis Yu and Jerry Alonguilan. Correct me if I butchered those names either. I didn't look them up. I'm just what I can see on the book, you know. They do amazing work. I feel like they have an amazing immersive art style, and they do great work on many beautiful panels within the book. And I would say this book honestly is home to my new favorite Superman panel. I didn't want to spoil the comic too much in this video because I feel like that somewhat defeats the purpose of the point that I was trying to make at the beginning. Reading is not as popular as a hobby as it should be. Now, while I do appreciate and I do think that you guys should like and share and send this video to as many people as you can because I need the exposure. I want to be a YouTuber. Whatever helps, I'm just joking. I feel like reading is important. I love these stories, and I've been collecting more ever since Invincible, and I feel like it's an underestimated hobby in this day and age because most people look at it and they think, oh, it's too quiet, or they've got TikTok brain rot, they need more going on, they need Subway Surfers playing next to it or something like that. And I just feel like it's super unnecessary. If you really sit down with a great comic, who's your favorite character? Whoever your favorite comic character is, I guarantee you they've got a book. And they probably have something for you out there. I went into Barnes & Noble on like half off or 25% off day or whatever, and there were so many books I couldn't even choose. Like I had a hard time picking. So, you know, needless to say, I'll be consistently going back to read more comics, and if I had to recommend one, if Superman's one of your favorites, this is definitely one to start with. Only $10, $10 book. So, my first time doing a video like this, hopefully it comes out good. Sometimes things don't tend to match up with my vision of things, so I will do my best to edit this and make it in a really entertaining product, because I hope it's something that you guys can watch, and I want to do more things like this. I feel like that's really what motivates me, is that this is the type of thing that I want to do. Like I said, we live in a very divisive time, and things are hard right now, and despite that, I'm still trying to follow my dream of being a successful content creator. I post a lot on TikTok right now. I've been posting my figure reviews, and I've been trying to catch up. I'm a couple days behind on YouTube with that. So if you guys have seen my figures, follow, like, share. We'll be doing more figure stuff in the future. I've got a wheel roulette that I'm gonna be doing of like every single Marvel DC animated show, and I'm gonna spin the wheel, watch the show, make a video on it, and so forth until the wheel is fully done with. It's another plan of mine. And yeah, so I've got a lot of plans for my channel. Kind of a hard time for me right now. If you guys watch me on Jalen and Gabe, you guys know that I used to have an apartment with my buddy Gabe. I don't have that anymore, so it's a little bit harder to get things done in I haven't found out my new system for everything yet. So hopefully we're trying to get back on with everything, you know, this channel, the other channel, and yeah, so I would really appreciate any support that you guys can give, and yeah, hopefully I can catch you guys next time.